Welcome back, Beauty Gains episode 13.
Hello.
So today we are going to talk about the horror, the absolute horror that is dating in today's world. And originally we were just going to talk about being single and empowering and being independent before you depend on people and dating. And then Courtney came in today. And we have decided to flip a switch, and we are going to talk about the horror that is modern dating. Yeah. Take it away, Curly.
All right, guys. So, first things first, before you get in a relationship, ladies, take the time to get to know who you're dating. There you go. There you go. So go out and get coffee, go get a drink, go for a walk, whatever, go on dinner dates, whatever you guys like to do. But take the time to get to know that person. Go see them with their friends, but don't rush into anything. I feel like many girls just want the title, want to be in a relationship, want to call someone their boyfriend, and then like you get a bunch of red flags from the beginning. And then people will be like, oh, they'll go away. I'll change them. You're not changing them. You're never going to change them.
Why don't you talk about some of the red flags that you came in and we're discussing today as to why we said, fuck it. We're going in on the horrors of what the fuck happens when we've been dating.
I have so many. I have so many I could talk about. First things first. You're the background of someone's phone and you haven't even done anything with them.
This is mind-blowing.
And you went on like 2 dates with them.
And you were the background of their phone.
Yeah.
And it's not like a picture that you sent him personally.
It was just a selfie.
It was a selfie off of your Instagram.
Yeah.
And he wasn't even like, hey, I'm going to make you the background of my phone.
Oh, no. That was in there. It was like randomly. It was just like, oh, like I caught it and I was like, wait. And they were like, oh, I thought I told you.
And you were like, no.
Good picture. But yeah, no.
That's fucked up. So weren't dating. You had only gone out with him a few times and you were already the background of his phone.
Yeah. Very interesting. Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So red flag.
Red flag.
On dating. Any
I
more
have-
red flag?
I feel like, oh my God, I should just go through my DMs. It's very interesting.
But those aren't people that you're dating.
No.
You went out with this man.
Yeah. I went on a couple. Yeah. Yeah.
Anything else about
I don't want to blow up the spot.
fuck it. It doesn't matter because you're done.
I'm potentially talking about getting a place together. I was like, wait, what?
Again, was dating a few times and was talking about you finding a place together while you're the background of his phone.
Yeah.
Do you think that he has a shrine?
Oh my God, I have no idea. Maybe he has like a little shrine of me in like his like phone book or like his phone album or something.
So within a few dates, you are now the background of said person's phone. You are moving in,
and it's
in his
literally
mind
been
together.
Not even a month of talking. Yeah.
So we talk about women rushing into things, but it's not just us rushing into things.
No.
It's men as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just people in general are loving to rush into things.
I just feel like everyone likes to not everyone. I just feel like some like to rush into it for like the Instagram pictures and like saying they want a relationship and all that. Like, no.
I was having this talk with my friend the other day as to dating in general and how dating is such a forced thing now, as to that's why we have so many dating apps and we have all these different things, because when you're not dating somebody, people are actively trying to be dating somebody. When you don't have somebody, you're like, what the fuck am I doing? Why am I not talking to somebody? Rather than just going through your life and then running into somebody naturally and things naturally clicking. Nobody can be natural anymore. Everybody has this anxiety as to, I need to be with somebody, so I need to always actively be seeking somebody.
It's so funny because that's how this started. Like,
natural.
My situation, supernatural.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is great. This is cool. Like, I think I could totally like someone. and I've said previously, like, I'm friends with my ex. Like, me and him are as civil as exes could be. And, like, me and him were in a conversation. And I've been single for 3 years. And, like, I've been fine. Like, I don't need a guy. I don't need to date anybody. Like, I've talked to a couple of people. I've gone on dates, but it never went any further. And I just know to not ignore the red flags from the beginning. And I just cut it off. And I'm like, listen, like, you're cool. Like, let's just be friends. I'm cool with being friends with people. But, yeah, I actually said to my ex, like, oh, like, I actually just started talking to someone. And he was like, oh, awesome. Like, I'm very happy for you. And within, like, literally 2 weeks of me saying that to him, he, like, re-asked me. And I was like, oh, I already edited it. He's like, wait, what?
That's why it's crazy when people start to see somebody and you get excited about it. But people, like you said, jump the gun. Oh, let's take a picture. I need to take a picture. I need to post this up. And everybody always jokes around about, like, the first official Instagram picture.
Yeah.
And then in, like, a month, you don't see pictures anymore.
Mm-hmm.
And people are like, well, what happened to your amazing boyfriend, amazing girlfriend that, like, came out from the fucking heavens of Zeus's fucking garden?
Yeah.
She was the best fucking thing ever. You guys were amazing. And what the fuck happened?
Mm-hmm.
It's because people get so fucking excited, like we had spoken about in whatever episode we were answering questions, about the fact that people fall in love with an idea of somebody and they fall in love with the on paper person. And then you realize that there's so much more to being with somebody than just what's on paper. So many little, like, nuances that people do, or so many little quirks that people have that could, I know for me, I get set off so fucking easily.
Oh, yeah.
And it's nothing, and it's nothing I can control. It's just shit that bothers you.
Mm-hmm.
But then in your head, you try to fight it and be like, no, like, maybe they'll grow on me or maybe whatever. And
No.
I've stopped doing that shit so long ago, where people talk about compromising and you have to settle for some things, or if they're not like this, you need to learn how to train a man. I'm not trying to fucking train a man.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to have a job of creating a person that I want. Eventually it'll happen, and it is what it is. I'm so tired of this whole dating thing. It's just exhausting because you're entertaining these people who are just trying to put on this facade or show you, like, oh, this is the best part of me and this is the best part of me. What about this part of me?
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, dude, can you just, like, have a conversation? If banter is huge for me, if you can't go back and forth with me and something's not a natural flow and you don't provoke out of me all different sides of me and you only have one side, so it's like only fitness side or only me being super, like, stern and sarcastic, if you can't get me to be a sweet person to you and you can't bring out all the sides of me and you can't accentuate those sides of me, I'm not going to sit there and force you into fitting into what I want. I'm not going to sit there and train you, because then it's unnatural. And then when it's unnatural when you're doing it, now you're turning me off anyway, and it's just not. So there's no point in, quote unquote, training a man or training a woman to be who you want them to be, because the things that are on the list are good, but them as a person you can't fucking stand.
Yeah. No.
There's no point in trying to manipulate a person into being what you want, because then you're going to end anyway, because that's not who you're supposed to be with.
Yeah.
So this whole forced dating thing and seeking dating thing has just got blown out of proportion after however many dating apps. One of my girlfriends, I think it was, we were all sitting down last year. He was like, yeah, I'm on like 8 different dating apps. I'm like, what the fuck?
I like the natural way. I'm not on any dating apps. I don't know if someone made a fake one for me. I really don't know. Actually, that happened once. My cousin found it.
Yeah.
And he was like, what? Like, you're on a dating app? I was like, no. And someone made like a fake one for me. But I like to just go out, and if I meet someone, I meet someone, like, good.
Yeah. And I think that's what's hard right now with the whole COVID and Corona thing, is where you actually get to meet people.
Yeah.
You're in a mask. Nobody really likes to actually have contact with anybody anymore. When you go to bars, you have to sit. You can't go anywhere. You don't actually get to go up to a bar. Even doing...
You're like, you don't know where they've been. You don't know who they've been with. They could have a whole side piece. They could have a whole girlfriend. Like, you don't know.
They could have a whole girlfriend, not a half of one.
Listen, I know people that have a girlfriend and then they do their thing, and I'm like...
Yeah. What the fuck people do is what people... Again, don't know if we had spoken last episode about being happy. Maybe somebody does have an open relationship. Maybe somebody has this or this, but at least being upfront with people how you are. I know a few people have been very upfront from the beginning as to what their lifestyle is. And then you choose whether or not you want to be a part of that lifestyle with them. But there's no point in pretending to be somebody that you're not off the beginning just because you think that it's exciting to somebody else.
I feel like that's the struggle that I deal with, is because I'm very upfront. This is who I am. If you don't like it, don't let the door hit you on the way out. Like, you have to, if you're going to be with me, you need to understand that the pictures that I post, sometimes guys, not really, sometimes I get a lot of creepy DMs, but I have guys DM me. And if you can't be comfortable with that and know and trust me that I'm not answering them, I really don't entertain anybody. Like, you're not for me.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, with my profession too, like, if I post a guy, then like that's serious, because I'm not posting anybody unless I'm really serious about them, because I have girls deliberately look for who I talk to and will try to go after them. And I've had that multiple times.
Nobody ever knows when I'm actually seeing somebody. Everybody thinks that I'm always by myself. Yeah. But it's just because I never feel the need to actually post it on social media. So,
like, if anything, I'll get like a hand. Like, while I'm out to dinner, like, that's it. You won't see their face.
I'm like on a boat.
If I show their face, they're my friend.
Yeah, I'm like on a boat, and people are like, oh, well, she's not usually on a boat. Does that mean that she, like, you'll never, on special occasions, sure, but I've never been that person that is like, look at me and my boyfriend. Like, we're super happy, because the more that you put out there on social media, the more that people are going to ridicule, the more the people that are going to expect things from you. And then it's just another hard thing for, excuse me, if it's not going well, you feel like you owe it to the rest of the world to prove that, no, like, me and him are happy.
Yeah.
But no, you're not. So the more that you put out there is the more that people expect from you. So you're kind of shooting yourself in the foot. Like we said, when you're early in these relationships and you just are constantly like, look how happy we are, look how happy we are. Yeah, you're excited, you're in honeymoon phase, and you think that this person is like, I'm all set. And then, like, a few months in, the honeymoon phase ends, and then all the shit actually pops out.
That's why I like to have, like, a checklist of, like, what I know I like and what I look out for. Like, I don't want to date someone who gets mad at me for, like, something little.
Yeah.
If, like, I don't want to hang out with them for a week. Sometimes I have weeks where, like, I'm constantly dealing with people and, like, things that they're going through that, like, I don't have, like, me time. Sometimes I'll have a week where I'm like, I just don't want to see anybody. I just want to be alone. I just want to, like, clean my room and have, like, me time. And if you can't understand that, then you're not for me.
But that's the whole thing with today. I gotta keep drinking some water.
I mean, I have another horror story. It's pretty good.
Listen, we're all about the horror stories today and red flags. I know we've ventured away from it, but this actually, believe me, we're coming back around to it.
This goes to more so women being a little crazy.
Okay.
This one girl knew I was talking to this guy a while ago. I was talking to this person, and obviously didn't work out, whatever. And yeah, she tried talking to him after me, and she knew who I was. And I was at a bar, and she came up to me and was like, oh my God, you're that tall curly to me girl. And I'm like, yeah, who are you? She's like, oh, whatever her name was. She's like, I want to get a spray tan from you. Like, okay, cool. Like, not thinking anything of it. Just giving you guys the brief story. I'm sure you guys can figure out where it went. So at the time, I was actually spraying here, and I had like a Christmas special going on, so I had people like coming in and out. So this girl comes to get a spray tan by me, don't even know who she is, whatever. And we're just like talking, you know, like spray tan confessional. She's talking about some guy she can't get over, and then she's talking about how she just like hooking up with people. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, do you, girl? Like, that's what you want to do, sure. Like, she was like trying to get things out of me about this person that I was talking to. And I'm like, me and him are cool. Like, I didn't go anywhere. We're not dating, whatever. And then she's like, oh, wait, you dated him? Me and him are good friends. I'm like, no, you're not. And she's just like, how would you know? I'm like, because I know who his friends are. You're not his friend. And she's like,
you're not his friend.
I'm like, you're not his friend. And I've gotten his permission before to talk about this. It was just kind of like when the right time was to talk about this. Obviously, nobody knows who it is. But so this girl's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, did you hook up with him? And she's like, no. I'm like, okay. I'm like, listen, I don't like my business being like out there. So if you want to stay and talk about this, like we can. Obviously, you look a little uncomfortable. I'm very good at reading people. So like you look a little uncomfortable. Obviously, she's butt ass naked in front of me. Mind you, this person I was talking to was serious at one point. So I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable for me, even more so. It was somebody that was kind of hard for me to get over. And I'm sitting there just looking at this girl butt naked in front of me. And I'm like, she hooked up with this person. Like, that's cool. So she waits for me. And then she comes back in after all my clients leave. And she starts talking to me. She's like, you're just a really nice girl. Like, he'll never be honest with you. Mind you, at the time, I texted him and I was just like, do you know blah, blah, blah? And he's like, yeah. And then told me about it. And he's just like, I'm like, call me later. Like, I'm so sorry that this situation even happened to you. Like, that's insane. So I'm like, she knew who I was. She knew exactly who I was. There's no way she didn't. So I called her out and I was like, so you didn't hook up with him? She's like, no, we're really just good friends. I'm like, okay. She's like, I just drove him home once. I'm like, no, you didn't. I'm like, you're lying to me. I know you're lying to me. I was like, so he never called you back after you hooked up with him. And that's why you're here right now. And she just went blank. Didn't know what to say because she didn't think I'd call her out. And she's just like, yeah, he would never say anything. I took my phone. I like threw it on the table. I go, he wouldn't? He told me already. I was like, I was just waiting for you to be honest. I gave you the benefit of the doubt. And then afterwards, she kept texting me. Like, you're so sweet. I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, you knew who I was. You knew I talked to him. Like, why are like, no, it's done here. So then I was talking to my sister and I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, now she's a client, technically. And I don't want to bring my personal life into my business. And that's messing with my business at that point. Like, and that's uncomfortable for me. Like, you deliberately know who I am. Like, can you imagine just sitting there looking at a girl that, like, when you were serious with someone, like, after you guys broke up, whatever, all that stuff, and you're sitting there and you're like, wait, like, that's who you hooked up with after me? Like, okay, enjoy. So.
But he didn't cheat on.
No, he didn't cheat on
you.
No.
It's just a girl that he hooked up with
after me. Yeah. But she knew who I was. Like, she knew I dated him.
But did you guys know each other prior to that?
Me and her?
Yeah.
No, I never knew her.
So
She
then-
saw me at a bar.
So then on this part of it, do you take offense to somebody that, like, you were dating somebody and then she hooked up with that?
I wasn't mad at him.
No.
I'm mad at her.
But why were you mad at her is my question.
Because you know who there's a million other people you could get a spray tan from. She deliberately
Right.
knew who I was and wanted to get a spray tan for me to
what if
tell
she liked
me.
your spray tan? You say that
She
your
never got
solution is so nice.
I know, it's amazing. But she never got a spray by me before. And it was
Okay.
just, like, how it all added up. And then after the fact, like, they hooked up, I think it was, like, October. And we're now in December.
Mhm.
So then she texted me at 2 a.m. one night and was like, I need a favor. I'm like, what? What could you possibly need from me? Like, I'm not spraying you anymore. I don't want that. Like, I'm good. Like, I'd rather my peace than that. She's like, I left my sweatshirt at his house, my work sweatshirt. Can you go get it for me?
At his house?
At his house. I'm like, in October? You want it now in January? Like, what? And, like, at this time, we're in January. So it was, like, 2 weeks after the situation. So you're texting me at 2 a.m. You're trying to, like, stir the pot. And, like, you're trying to be, like, evil about it.
Yeah, that situation's odd.
It was so weird. And I was like, what? And then he saw her, like, after at the bar that she worked at. And he just walked up to her and just, like, looked at her and, like, shook his head. And I was like, really? And just, like, walked away.
People are strange.
Mm-hmm.
Like, men and women both are very strange in the fact that when things don't work out, they can't just let go of things. They have this weird, like, tension almost in their body that they need to get released. And they become so, not like manipulative, but they become so, like, spiteful on certain things where it's kind of like.
And at the time I was pissed off about it, like, during the
Yeah.
situation. And I was just like, why are you doing this to me?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why would you? I would never do that to another person.
Yeah.
It's like leaving my glow sweatshirt at someone's house that, like, is talking to someone. Like, you don't do that. Like, you just throw it out. You don't need it. Go get a new one.
But, like, that's what I mean is, like, her reaching out to you and being
It was because she never got a call back from him, because that's what I figured it all out.
But at the same time, it's just odd that, but this is what I'm saying is that people can't just let shit go.
Mhm.
That's over with.
Mhm.
And that's where you get more and more built up rather than, like, moving on, like, with your life. I was thinking about this the other day when we were talking about what we're going to talk about today. And in my head, when you talk about being ghosted and ghosting somebody is mean, it's rude. Like, you at least owe them something.
Yeah.
But no, you don't owe them anything. I almost find that
Pretty good at ghosting.
I almost find that ghosting is better for people, and it's not, like, healthier for people. Nobody owes you an explanation as to why they don't like you.
It's like, why am I going to continue a conversation with
like,
you
it's
if
rude,
it's not going anywhere?
Fine, it's rude if, like, you slept with somebody and then they never talk to you again. Like, that's kind of rude. But if you are just talking to someone off of a dating app, or you met somebody once and you're texting and then you realize you don't like each other, you don't really owe somebody anything as to, maybe you can say, hey, I don't see this going anywhere. But then people fight back for it. People are like, oh, well, what did I do wrong? Can you tell me what I did wrong? Is it this or is it this or is this? and then they try to fix it. But what the fuck are you fixing? There's no relationship here. There's no connection. The person literally stopped answering you for a reason or told you, hey, this isn't working out. And then you ask why. And then they tell you why.
Try to fix it,
and then you try to fix it. And you're like, oh, no, I'm sorry. It's just because I just met you. I'm just nervous. I swear to God, I'm not like that.
Mm-hmm.
Stop trying to force something when somebody already told you, I don't like you.
Yeah.
I'm not into you. There's no connection here. Connection is a huge thing. Chemistry is a huge thing. So me and you could have so many different things in common. But if our connection and our chemistry isn't there, there's no fucking point of it at all. So when people have that list and they hone in on this fucking list, they're like, oh no, well, we have this, this, and this in common, and I can see a future with this person because I'm going to do A, B, C, and D together. But you can't even be in a room for 5 minutes together. It's silent. You have nothing that you're going off of. There's no actual chemistry there. Like, every human being is different in what they want to do, but we force ourselves and then we get offended when people don't like us. Stop taking offense to somebody not liking you. Not everybody you date is going to be the person that you're going to be with. And a lot of people take this rejection so personally that even if it's somebody that you met once and they don't want to talk to you anymore, you're so hurt by it.
Yeah.
You're like, what's wrong with me?
And like, that's where like, even that situation, I was just like, you know what? She's because she was talking about a previous relationship she was in and out for like 3 years, whatever it was. And she was like, yeah, I was really hurt. It was kind of a rebound thing. And I'm like, so you were talking to other people? She's like, no. Like, then I found out, like, through the grapevine, I'm very good at investigator for things that I want to know. And I found out, and I've even had honest conversations with this person, not the girl, my friend that I was seeing. And he was just like, honestly, like, she was very easy to try to talk to me. Like, she was pushing it more than I was. Yeah. And I was like, okay, interesting. And it just, I know girls, every girl, not every girl. I'm going to say not, because I don't really do this anymore. Okay. I used to. But like, you just know who their exes are. And especially if you're that interested in someone and asking people to introduce you to that person, you're checking out to see who they previously talked to. Yeah. So, very interesting situation.
It's just, it's always not concerning to me, but when people can't just take what reality is, and we keep talking about horrors of dating, and it's not just girls that are trying to find out information and shit like that. It's men do the same shit. It's getting to a point where you can't even say no. Like, you have to ghost people. You have to be rude because people aren't getting
like,
you
why?
being.
But like, what's the point of having pointless conversations and then what? Like, I'm gonna be nice to you and then you're gonna think that you have another shot. Like, no, I'm the type of person, you mess up once, goodbye, you're done.
Yeah, and it's not even always about messing up.
If it's like a little thing, like a little mess up, like, okay, you're late, like, okay. But if like you like deliberately do something to like disrespect me in some sort of way, or just something that I just don't see we're seeing eye to eye, like, no, I'm friend zoning you. We can talk here and there. If you want to see how I'm doing, I want to see how you're doing, sure. Like, if you need a friend, I'm that person that if you need somebody to talk to, I'm never going to turn someone around, like turn someone away. But at some point you have to ghost somebody if they're still trying to talk to you.
So talking about horror stories of dating, I have an ex from years ago, and we met out. We started off with friends with benefits kind of thing, and then we ended up dating. And in the beginning, I could tell that mutual friends were kind of accepting and being like, okay, like, you guys, as long as you're happy. But it was always kind of well, what do you mean, like, as long as I'm happy? Like, what do you know that I don't know? A lot of friends end up being like, oh, I could have told you that, but you were just dating them, so. Yeah. But it's like, no, if you know something about somebody, tell them. Yeah. But it's that person's like provocative or whatever in order to stay with that person or not. So yeah, you don't want to already like muddle somebody's character if somebody's genuinely happy about something. But I think we need to stop holding information back from our friends as to what we think are red flags. And again, every person, anytime somebody asks me, oh, do you know this person? I'm like, yeah. They're like, well, what about them? I'm like, you have to figure out on your own. Like, my relationship with them is going to be much different than your relationship with them. So even though we like to be investigators and find out all this information prior to meeting this person, fact checking, I guess, is fine if you're trying to figure out if what that person is saying is actually true and it's actually what they're doing. Because I've run into people who are like, oh, I own my own gym. I do this, or this. And then we start dating. And then I find out, like, you actually don't own the gym. You actually don't even have a job. And, like, all this shit, people just try to not lie, but skew the truth.
I hate when people try to be something they're not. That bothers me so much.
But it's the same thing that we talk about, like, fat fishing and catfishing and all this shit. It's like, that person's eventually going to find out. So it's not the fact that what your reality is awful. Sometimes it is, but the fact that you're lying about it and covering up for it, you're just being insecure about it. But you're lying. You're holding back the truth from somebody who's trying to get to know you. So one guy I was dating, however long ago, ended up having, again, you could have a daughter, you could have a kid. That's fine. I'm fucking 30 years old. Like, people are at this point in my life, people that I'm going to date are probably going to have kids or probably have been in a long-term relationship. Maybe they've been married, maybe they're divorced. All those variables, now that we're getting older, that's not as much like, oh no. Yeah. But when you hide these things from somebody that's trying to get to know you, those are red flags when people are keeping things from you. And I get that people get anxious or nervous, but they're anxious or nervous about something that somebody's going to already find out eventually. Yeah. So just being straight up and honest, hey, listen, like, me and my wife are separated, or hey, listen, like, I have a kid, or hey, listen, you're allowing that person to choose for themselves. You're not making a decision for them. And then later on, once they fall for you, you're throwing all this information out at them.
You're like, wait,
and they're
now
like,
you're
what
a whole
the fuck?
different person.
You're a whole different person
like,
now.
what?
I don't understand what happened. But going back to my ex from however long ago, a lot of red flags started coming up months into us being together. And it went from being a very nice relationship. We would run Spartan races together. We'd go work out together. He was nice. He was attentive. And then it started declining as to I would, like, wake up in bed and he wouldn't be there. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he was like, oh, I'm at the bar. Why are you at the bar when I'm laying in bed? I don't understand. And then shit like that started happening more and more. And then super sketchy things started happening. So it started off good, and then true colors start to come out. And again, at that point, you're invested in this person. I really care about this person. I really like this person. I know that they have genuine good character traits. And then you start accepting their bad character traits. And along with their bad character traits, that's where the whole, like, compromising thing comes into play. And, well, if I want the good, I have to deal with the bad. And we put ourselves into this mindset as to, well, I love this person, I want to be with this person, whatever, I have to accept all the parts of them. No, you fucking don't. No matter what part of the relationship you're in, whether it's the beginning, you're just dating, you're not even official, anything like that, or if you've been together for months, years, if shit starts to change or shit isn't getting better, no matter how many conversations you've had about it, like, those are still red flags, no matter how much you care about that person. So he started being less and less attentive, more neglectful, whatever. We would have screaming matches. And that's when I knew that me and him had to be done, because he would get me to the level that no person on this earth has ever seen me at. It's like, who's can get louder, who's not backing down from each other. I don't like being at that level. Yeah. I like being more of a positive person. Yeah, it's in me. But like we spoke about in one of those episodes, somebody that brings out the bad attributes of you or the attributes that you don't like about yourself, the red flag. Yeah. So I remember one time we were driving and we were in the middle of a four-way intersection, and out of nowhere, he just stepped on his brakes and the person from behind us rear-ended us. And he did it on purpose because the person behind us was driving so fucking close to him and he was getting annoyed. So he brake checked the guy, made the guy rear end us without even telling me. I almost smashed my face into the dashboard. He got out of the car, went behind us to the car behind us, and almost pulled the guy out of the car for driving too close behind him. So are you out of your fucking mind? So after all these things started happening, I was like, absolutely fucking not. Goodbye. Mm-hmm. So we ended up breaking up. And then that person turns into a victim. I broke his heart. I'm not giving him another chance. This or this, all this shit. Then fast forward to like a year later, we've been broken up. We're out for my friend's birthday. and he just so happens to be there. And I'm out with a bunch of my coworkers, and he had always been suspicious about a coworker. He would always ask me like, "Oh, why are you at the gym so late?" "I have work. I work at a gym." "What do you mean?" Mm-hmm. And that coworker was there that night, went up to him, started freaking out on him. They start physically fighting, all this shit for absolutely no fucking reason. And then I go home. One of my friends brings me home. I'm like, I'm not dealing with this. That ex broke into my house that night, tried wrestling with me to get my phone, who in his mind, it was his phone because he gave it to me. And he wanted to know a year later who I was talking to.
A year later.
I had bruises all over my arms.
Oh my God.
And again, he's trying to play this victim card. So get out of my fucking house. I'm not calling the police on you because I know that's what you want. I know that you want for me to continue to hurt you and for you to be a victim, and I did this to you. Meanwhile, you're fucking nuts. You broke into my house. You're wrestling me, and you won't leave. Get the fuck out of my house. That incident happened. Now fast forward however many more months. I'm at a bar with my friends. He's there again. He's there by himself. None of his friends. He's actually there with another girl. They're like making out in the back bar, holding hands, all of this shit. And I'm there with my friends. I'm not there with another guy. I'm not dancing with another guy. I'm not anything. I'm there with my girlfriends. He comes up to me, starts screaming at me.
Oh my God.
I don't understand why you won't talk to me. I don't understand why you don't love me anymore. I don't understand this or this or this. I'm like, dude, why do you have to do this every time? It's been over however long. And the bouncer came over because he was yelling so loud. And the bouncer was like, you need to leave her alone or you're going to have to leave. He started screaming at one of my friends who was there, then went over and apologized to my friend afterwards for screaming at them. Then about like an hour and a half goes by. Me and my girlfriends are dancing. He's with this girl. They're holding hands as they're walking to the front bar. And all of a sudden he drops her hand, comes back over to me, starts screaming at me again. I'm like, dude, you're here with another girl. Like, what is your problem? I don't give a fuck about her. Blah, 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 blah. So I knew what was about to happen because the bouncer came back over. Was like, dude, we've given you a shot. Now you have to go. Coming out the back with us, you have to go. He's like, no, I'm good. Sorry, like, I won't do it again. They're like, no, we already gave you another shot. You have to go. So then I know what's going to happen. So I turn around, hand my friend my wallet and my phone. And before I can turn around again, I get bumped into. Him and the bouncer are now wrestling each other, trying to take each other down to the ground. And he ends up on top of the bouncer. And I just got this like over body feeling of being so fucking fed up with his bullshit. And this is all after we broke up. After all of the shit and him trying to victimize himself and all this crazy shit. And now he's fighting this fucking bouncer. Worth being there with another girl. Literally let go of this girl's hand to come over and fight with me and this fucking bouncer while I'm minding my own business. So then I end up taking him off of the bouncer. So this is another thing that so many people, this was why I don't go around at home anymore because I was done running into him. But so many people were like, oh, like you were choking your ex-boyfriend out. No, I wasn't. I put my ex-boyfriend in a rear naked hold. I was not choking him because I could still hear him screaming at me. And I pulled him off of the bouncer and put him on the ground. And then all the other bouncers came back over and took care of the rest of it. But so many people are like, oh, like I hate the fact that people saw me as almost being in a domestic anything because I've never put my hands on anybody. Mm-hmm. I'm not into this whole like physical abuse shit, not at all. But I try to take them apart from each other and then it turns into, oh, you were choking out your ex-boyfriend. No, I wasn't. I was taking him off of somebody who was trying to defend me. And then it turns into all this shit. So dating to me, once you start to see red flags that come from past experiences, I will never date somebody again who acts like that.
And the last person I went on a date with, and I was like saying, like, I was in honest communication. I was like, listen, I saw these red flags that I've seen in previous relationships that I've been in that it didn't work out. And I'm not going to put myself through that. And I don't want to deal with those things. Stop comparing me to them. I'm like, I'm not saying you're them.
Yeah.
You're your own person. I'm just saying things that don't work for me that I've already seen. It's not going to work.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm glad that you brought up, like, you know, guys trying to make girls feel like victims. And that's when a lot of girls are like, oh, but maybe I am wrong. It's manipulation.
Yeah.
Everyone has been there.
It's
at
100% manipulation. And I know so many girlfriends who have these guys who they're madly in love with, and for whatever reason, they're like, no, he's different. No, he's different. This is this. They'll break up. They'll be manipulative. They'll get them back, break their heart again, all this shit. And then each time something new comes back. And
and there's it's like you wake up every day. And I was way long ago, I was with someone who would kind of manipulate me and like try to play victim every time. Like he'd break up with me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's your fault. Like, what did I do?
Mm-hmm.
It's your fault. Like, I didn't do anything though. I don't understand. But really, he would go out with his friends, and that's when he'd break up with me. When the weekends came, we'd go out with his friends, and I'm like, what are you doing? And then some girl came back to me and was like, oh, he's been cheating on you this whole time. Yeah. And I'm like, interesting. And I told him, it's your fault. Why is it my fault? Because it's just your fault. And I'm like, what? You're never going to get better than me. You're ugly. And then like would try to bring me down and manipulate me and be like, you're young. You'll never date anyone as good as me. And I had to break up with him. I had to get a new number. When I broke up with him, I waited until my dad was coming home because he wouldn't let me break up with him. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, no, we're done. I shut the door. I locked the door. Wouldn't leave my car. Was like waiting by my car for me to come out. And I called my dad. I'm like, you need to hurry home. Yeah. Like, I need you to get back here ASAP.
They start to act at this whole different level. And we take it on as to, okay, maybe I wasn't understanding. Maybe I did provoke this. Absolutely fucking not. People are going to manipulate you, and people are going to act how they're going to fucking act because that's who they are.
Yeah. And like when you're younger dating, like I don't even know. So I was young. But when you're like younger and you're going through that and you're like, oh, maybe it is me. Maybe something's wrong with me because I was insecure at that time. And if you caught me now and I was doing that, I'd be like, okay, bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. And that's where you need to have security with yourself and be comfortable being alone, that you're not just settling for anyone who's giving you attention.
And that's the biggest thing is people find dating and having a title of being in a relationship gives them value. So I hear a lot from people when I'm 30 years old and people are like, oh, well, you have this or this. There has to be something wrong with you as to why you're single then. Mm-hmm. No, there's nothing wrong with me. I've just been through A through fucking Z, rewind it, go through it again. And I'm tired of it. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to be in a relationship that gave me any of the shit that I've been through already.
Yeah.
I'm just tired of it. I'm exhausted. And I'd rather not go seeking for something when all of these different signs or red flags or whatever comes up. It's not important to me to have a boyfriend to say I have a boyfriend. Because like we talked about last episode, in society, if you don't have a boyfriend, you don't have a girlfriend, there must be something wrong with you because that's what your goal is. Your goal is to have a partner.
And that's what bothers me, because
care.
Why can't you just look at it like, wow, like I'm proud of you for being so independent that you're not just settling for anyone who's giving you attention and just like gonna make yourself unhappy in the long run because you just want to be with someone to have a title and post Instagram pictures and all of that.
I'm so over settling. Mm-hmm. And the last however many people who I've even attempted to get to know, I don't want it. Mm-hmm. You're gonna know things are just gonna absolutely click, and you're sitting there like, well, how are you gonna know? You're fucking single. What do you mean? How do you know? Because you haven't found it yet. Because I found everything that's bad so far. I haven't found a relationship or somebody that I've been dating that is worth dealing with all of that stuff.
And we're not saying that like there's not gonna be like a disagreement. There's gonna be a disagreement. There's gonna be some conflict, but it's a matter of how they handle conflict and how you guys connect when you handle conflict. Like if you handle conflict and he's screaming at you, that's not good. I want someone to communicate with me. If you raise your voice at me, I'll raise my voice louder at you. Like don't bring me down and feel like you're more powerful because you're gonna yell at me. I don't want you to yell at me. If you can't talk to me with a normal tone, then you're not for me.
Yeah. And it also comes in the fact of once you find the person that you're going to get along with and that you're going to connect with, all of the things that didn't work out with other people are going to fall into place, and they're just going to seem so much easier and simpler. No, you're never not going to have issues. You're always going to have issues. You're two separate humans. But you're going to find somebody that can talk to you and make you feel secure and have all of these different things rather than all of this fuckery that everybody else is bringing to you, or all this anxiety that people are bringing to you. And people aren't going to have to put on a facade. They're going to know everything about you. You're going to know everything about them. And even though maybe you didn't accept it from somebody else, maybe that was a turnoff from somebody else, but the right person, all of like the weird shit, even if it comes from them, you're going to be like, okay, like this is okay. It's not about compromising for every person. You're going to have to make compromises for the right person.
Yeah.
And until you find that right person, I totally disagree with the fact, like I said earlier, of training somebody to be exactly who you want. You're never going to have somebody be exactly who you want. But once you find the correct person that things just flow with, everything is just going to make more sense. And everything is just going to continue to flow and make you feel better about dating. And that fact that it's not forced, and the fact that you can be yourself in all of your aspects and they accept you for all of your aspects. You're not going to have to deal with this bullshit of people like flipping a switch on you, or becoming abusive, or becoming manipulative. Because so many of us fall into the fact of these fucking horror dating things, and we go along with it way longer than we should because it's giving a person a chance.
Yeah.
Or I like this, and this about this person, so I'm going to hang around and see how it goes. I'm so done with seeing how it goes.
Yeah.
And I don't care if people are like, well, you don't give anybody a shot. How are you going to ever find somebody?
And
I'll find someone just fine.
I hate when girls just like automatically just assume that like once you like get physical and stuff with them, then it'll change. No, it's not going to change. If anything, it's going to make it worse. Yeah. Like I friend zone everyone when they try to talk to me. You're friend zoned from the beginning. You are not friend zoned when I see that I like qualities in you. Then I'll see if it goes somewhere. But you're friend zone. You're not getting shit from me. I want to see how we interact on a friendship level. We could go on dates, like whatever. If you want to kiss, sure. But you're not getting shit from me until I know that there's some kind of connection there.
But so many of my girlfriends will come to me with all stories, and they're always very confusing to me. I had one girlfriend who would stop telling me things because she knew that I was going to give her the hard truth about it, and she didn't want to hear it. But why don't you want to hear the truth about it? Is because you want so badly for something to work out that you are fully ignoring what is straight in front of your fucking face.
So funny you say that because it's the same with me. A lot of my friends know to not come to me because I'm giving the blunt, honest opinion. I think that's why me and you connected too. Like at the time when we first started this, I was venting to you about something. I was like, oh, I like your honesty. Like, thank you. I needed that.
And then they'll come out. And my friends from growing up, they'll tell each other, but then they're like, don't tell Jess. And then we'll all be out together, and the situation would have happened like months ago. And then one of them will always kind of put it into the conversation nonchalantly. And I'll catch it. What the fuck did you just say? She's like, oh, I didn't want to tell you because I knew you were going to be mad at me, but it doesn't matter anymore because I stopped talking to him anyway. And it's a literal. So one of the stories, I'm not going to obviously shout my girlfriend out, but one of the stories pretty much was she was seeing this guy who she knew that I couldn't stand because he was so bad to her. Like, not attentive, and she's such a fucking sweetheart, and she deserves somebody who can give her what she wants, but she would pretend to be into things that she's not.
No.
In order for this person, and I'm not just talking about like hobbies, I'm talking about like sexual things too.
Oh.
And like, oh well, he's into this or this. I'm like, that's not you though. Like, oh well, I don't know you I know it. We've had these conversations. And she would drive like an hour to see him, to take care of him, I'll say it, and then get nothing in return, and then drive home. And I'm like, why are you doing that? Like, oh, well, you know, he is nice to me. Like, he tells me I'm pretty. He tells you
why you
you're,
have friends to tell you you're pretty.
Yeah, he tells
Look in the
you
mirror,
you're
tell
pretty,
yourself you're pretty.
and that means he gets
go get a toy,
and
then tell yourself you're pretty.
I'm like, what? It's like, and I know that people have different levels of insecurity, but man, every time she told me these stories, I'm like, I love you way too fucking much and know your worth way too fucking much for me to accept this for you. And again, I try not to get into people's relationships or too involved in them, because you're going to learn your lessons when you're going to learn your lessons. I'm going to tell you the blunt truth, and what you take from that is what you're going to take from that. But please stop fucking doing this to yourself, because you are so much better than all of these guys who manipulate you, who I remember the first time she showed me a picture of him, and I just stared at her and I was like, you let this man pretty much like do whatever the fuck he wants with that fucking face. And from what you told me, personality that much better. And from what you told me, isn't that much better. And you allow that face to come close to your body. I'm like, I can't, I don't understand. And now she is with the most amazing boyfriend. They live together.
Thank God.
He is what was meant for her.
Yeah.
But she went through all of this crazy ass bullshit because she was just trying to find somebody to fit into because she wanted a boyfriend because she needed that affirmation from a man. Even though all of us would totally tell her over and over again how pretty she was or how talented she was and how smart she was, and she shouldn't be dating these fucking guys who treat her like she's a fucking doormat.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely fucking not. But you can't talk somebody out of it until they fucking realize it. And you're just like, oh my God.
Yeah. I had a friend that it actually messed up our friendship because I'm so blunt and honest and I didn't like the guy she was dating. And we've been friends for a very, very long time.
Mm-hmm.
And she'd rather just not come around me and get my honest opinion and just keep hanging out with him. So like for months, we didn't see each other. We barely talked.
Mm-hmm.
And she finally realized that it wasn't for her. I mean, her actually, I got to a point where I was like, listen, for our friendship, because I care about you and I love you, let's just have a boundary. Just don't talk about him to me. And let's talk about everything else, but we don't need to talk about him. And I would always say to her, I'm like, I don't care how good the sex is with this person. They are not worth what they're putting you through.
This has been coming up so many times, is that a lot of people will like give that excuse.
No.
Oh, I'm still going to sleep with them because like the
No.
sex is good, like our intimacy is good. Right, but then you feel like shit afterwards because when the sex is done, then you go home and you're waiting to hear from them again, and you don't hear from them until it's time again.
I'm a spiritual person, so like I believe in like soul ties. Some people do, some people don't. I do. I'm also like an empath, so I feel like I feel people's emotions.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're sleeping with someone, you're giving up a part of like your soul. And if you like look at the definition and all that, like for Christians and like Catholic people, I think all that. But if you don't get a call back from them, you feel empty. Why not? Maybe if I post this selfie, it's going to get his attention. No, if he's not calling you back right after, he does not care. And I do not care how good it is to be with that person. It is not worth your sanity. You can literally go and get a toy and you're fine.
Yeah. And it's this whole thing where we put together the fact that when you are intimate, they'll say whatever the fuck, men and women both. I'm not even going to say this is just you men. Fucking women do it too. They'll say everything in that moment. And then once it's over with, they're just like, all right, never mind. And then you don't hear from them and then you feel upset because.
And then you start to pick yourself apart. What's wrong with me? Why didn't they call? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. No.
Some people, the thing is that people have to separate the fact of, if you're just looking for somebody to hook up with and you
need to establish it from the beginning.
And you are chilling in life, you have to be honest with yourself. Like some girls and some guys alike will say, I'm not looking for anything, but you really are. You're just going along with it.
Don't just assume that like, and don't just assume like, okay, like they want a friends of benefit and you eventually want a relationship. If he's saying from the beginning he's not looking for something, you're not changing his mind.
Right.
I don't care how good you are with him, you are not changing his mind.
You also have to be honest with where your emotional capacity is too. If you're a sensitive person and you, for whatever reason, decide you are in a long-term relationship and now you're not trying to get involved with anybody, you're just trying to date and be casual with people, and then you find somebody that you like, and you can't control that. You can't say, no brain, no heart, like I just got out of a relationship, we don't want to like this person, and it's an off switch. If you're a sensitive person and you find somebody that you like and you're being casual with them and they're straight up telling you, hey, I absolutely do not want a relationship, and then you start to catch feelings, you can't just go along without having a conversation with that person as to, hey, I know that we said we were going to be casual, and now I'm starting to feel more for you. So it would hurt my feelings if you continued to date other people. So if that's what's going to happen, I'd rather just end. And people are afraid to have that conversation because they don't want to lose somebody that they like. But if you're not on the same page and you're expecting to get more out of them, from doing what they want to do, but it's not what you want to do, you need to step away.
Yeah.
Because there's no harm in stepping away from something with no hard feelings. And then maybe that person later on wants a relationship and you're still single and then you guys hit it back off. But there's no point in forcing yourself into be miserable, into fitting into what somebody else wants when you know you want something else. Mm-hmm. There's no point in that. You're just hurting your own feelings. And then you're going to turn it into being insecure as to, well, what's wrong with me? Nothing's wrong with you. They already told you from the beginning what they wanted and what they didn't want. And if you start dating somebody and you both were like, oh, I want this, or this, and then they're still seeing somebody else, or they can't stop doing something that you are being sensitive about, and you end up separating, and then they come back and then they realize, oh, I don't want to be without you. But they're still acting the same way as if
and they don't want to be without you, but they still don't want to give you a title. They're not for you.
Correct.
And that was the situation my friend went through where she was dating this person, and she was kind of going through it with him. And I said, I was like, I don't think he's a bad person. It's not that. It's just you guys have been together for a while, and he still considers you just not dating. He says there's no reason to have a label on it. At that point, that's your girlfriend, that's your boyfriend.
Yeah.
Like, what's the difference?
Yeah.
You're doing everything the same. And then also, like, titles, too. Like, if you don't have a title with someone and they're giving you all the, like, qualities of a boyfriend, like, you don't need a title. But, like, at the end of the day, like, you guys are dating. If they respect you that much, then, like, they're not going to do anything.
People avoid having conversations that they think too far into as to, I don't want to bring this up because I don't want an outcome that I'm not ready for. So if you are going to have a conversation with somebody as to, are we exclusively only seeing each other, or are you still dating other people? And they tell you, well, I told you from the beginning, I don't want a relationship. I am seeing other people. And then you get hurt, but you're still not leaving them because you still want to be with them, but you're still going to be paranoid that, okay, now I know that he's still seeing other people. Why are you going to continue to feel bad? And same thing with men who are manipulative over the fact that they know what you want to hear. You left them, you told them, hey, like, you're doing A, B, and C, you're not changing, I'm still feeling unappreciated, I'm still feeling very bad about this. They're like, oh, well, I'm not going to change. So then you leave.
Yeah.
And then once you actually stop talking to them, and then they come back with, oh, I miss you, I don't want to be without you. And then, but they're still not willing to change. They just want you there because they're lonely. They just want you there because they had you there and they know that you're going to give your all to them. And they like how that feels. But they still don't want to give up all the other bullshit that they're fucking doing. But you have to learn that yourself. You can sit here and listen to me and Courtney and listen to all your girlfriends and all that shit.
And that's what I always tell my friends too. And that's why I got to that point with her where I was just like, listen, I love and care about our friendship so much. I'm not going to lose you over you talking to a guy. I'll even be around him. I don't care. I'm going to let you do whatever you want to do. Just don't come to me and call me about it. And another friend of mine where she would always talk to me and I know what her boyfriend was doing.
Yeah.
And I wasn't stupid and she didn't want to hear it. And I'm like, okay, if you don't want to hear it, not my problem. Just don't talk to me about it.
And that's where I have a few girlfriends who ask me advice on that. It's not so much advice on them and a guy. It's advice on they cannot stand their best friend's boyfriend or best friend's fiance. They're like, I don't know what to do. I'm her best friend. I'm supposed to be there for her.
You're not dating them.
Right.
Let them live their life.
But then they get super butthurt over certain things. And I told them the same thing. It's like, you need to have a talk with your best friend as to if you're going to continue to date them and have problems. You know how I feel about it. We're just going to continue to fight if you keep bringing it up to me. So find somebody else to talk to it about. I love you to death, but this has been going on for so fucking long. And I need my own, like, I don't want to fight with you. You're my fucking best friend. And don't want you to be treated like shit from them. And if you're going to continue to accept that because you have whatever it's going on, that's fine. But I don't want to sit here and talk about it anymore. Yeah. Because we're just going to continue to fight. And I don't need you fighting with me and fighting with your boyfriend. And you're just fighting with everybody on all cylinders because you're just going to your thing.
It's like it sucks too. It's like being outsider perspective and like seeing your friend go through that. It's like you want to just like take over their body and be like, not understanding. Yeah. Like, I want you to learn.
Yeah.
But we've all been there. we'd be lying if we said we weren't in situations where
If
we
I
stayed
didn't go
longer
through
than exactly.
100%, if I didn't go through all of that bullshit with my ex being murdered, this ex being fucking psychopath, this ex being emotionally detached, this ex being too clingy, like you start to fucking learn what you can tolerate, what you can't tolerate, until you find the person where everything just fucking works out well, everything is natural. You almost become a part of you that hasn't come out in a while. So I know for me, fucking shout myself out, it's fine. But you'll never know who it is, guys. Like starting to talk to somebody and it just being so natural with them right now, and I'm enjoying it so much that my soft side is out. My sarcastic side is out. My nerd side is out. My fitness side is out. Everything is out on the table. Like they've seen me cry. They've seen me all the shit. Like shit that people, like 90% of the population around me will probably never fucking get that side of me. But when all of your sides are accepted and emotionally out there for that person, that's when you can start to hone in on building somebody, is when everything is out there and you're just going for it naturally instead of forcing something to happen because somebody fits A, B, C, or D. Shit that he does, if anybody else did, I'd be like, absolutely fucking not, later. And they're not like abusive things or negative things. They're just
little things
that somebody else would have been like, no, that's annoying me, goodbye. You accept, that's where the compromise comes from. Somebody that you can fully be yourself with and fully comfortable with and secure with, and all these other sides come out and you start to accept things. One of my girlfriends brought up the other day, she went on 6 dates with this guy. And I'm like, okay, you're on your 6th date. But what is the conversation? And she was like, I don't know if I like him or not. Well, 6 dates is a lot to be on to not know if you like a guy or not. Like, I don't know, he's nice. Okay. He tells me like I'm pretty or whatever, but it annoys me. Like, so you're annoyed by somebody complimenting you. She's like, yeah, it's like too much. It's too soft and too mushy for me. So you don't like him. And she was like, well, he's nice. Okay, he's nice. We have to stop.
I just feel like some girls try to like push for I want a bad boy to like, that like makes me play a game.
But not even that. It's like all that side and then that side of, well, I'm supposed to end up with a nice guy. He's nice to me. Nobody else is really nice to me. Everyone's usually an asshole. Okay, but you don't know. But you don't like him.
And you've gone on 6 dates and you've probably talked to him. I'm going to assume every day he's not for you.
But you literally just said you don't like him. You don't like when he compliments you. Who doesn't like being complimented? So if that's the problem, that's just not the right person for you. You're going to find somebody who says the same shit that this guy is saying to you, but you'll accept it from him because that's who is a better fit for you. Yeah. Not everybody who's nice to you or who compliments you or is good on paper is going to be for you. You will literally know. That's why this forced dating and seeking to dating is so toxic in a sense, because we're so wrapped up in the fact of, all right, well, this date didn't work out. I'm going to go on this date with this guy. And then you just keep dating. And then you're exhausted and you don't want to fucking, the right guy's going to come around and you're going to be too tired.
And I usually know if someone's for me by like the like fun, weird side of me coming out. Like if I could sing in the car with you and like dance and like, you know, that side of me comes out, then I know that I like you, because I normally put up a wall. Yeah. And I put up a wall to see how much you could break down. I'm not saying like I'm like this like big bad wolf of like I'm going to be a bitch. Like I'm not. I'm still a nice person, but I'm guarded. I'm shy in the beginning. I'm a little guarded. And once like I realize I could be myself around you, then like a whole different side of me comes out and I'm fun. And like I know that side comes out, then I know I like someone. That's why I take the time to get to know someone and I build a friendship. Like I was friends with someone for like, I want to say 4 years. Yeah. And at some point me and him were like, oh, like maybe me and you could like make it work. But I mean, distance came into play. So me and him like didn't think it would go anywhere. And we knew that before anything even happened. And we were just like, all right, we do like each other, but at least now we know that these are qualities we look for in someone that we're going to actually date. And me and him are really good friends to this day.
And that's a good point as to not every person that you think like you mesh well with and whatever, but at least you know that it's there. So in comparison to all the other fucks that you've been going on a date with, you're like, no, it's not even close to how I felt with that other person. So,
and that was just a friendship level.
Yeah. But that's where you have to, like, this person that I've been talking to, we started off as friends. We didn't start off perfectly platonic. nothing about it. And then you start to care about the human being. And then once you start caring about the human being as a base, then you can start to build all of the personality and things like that.
Yeah. And the rest just gets better.
You have to take the time. You can't start dating somebody and then within 2 weeks be like, are you my boyfriend yet?
Yeah.
You don't even know anything about them. You might not even want them.
Yeah.
You have to, like we keep saying, take the fucking time when you're dating, because there are going to be red flags after red flags after red flags.
I like to have conversations about exes. I like to talk about what didn't work out with them, because I'm going to save your time and I'm going to save my time so we can have conversations. If that's what I see in you, I'm not going to waste my time if that didn't work out. But then also it comes into play what you said, like what may not have worked out with them can work out with me.
Right. But also when you start bringing up to things that didn't work out as in a conversation, you also get people who are like, oh, well, I'm not like that. And then they give examples as to like why they would never be that way. You're like, shut the fuck up. You're like, I don't need you to sit here and tell me A, B, and C that you won't do. And then they're like on their toes about it. You see, I didn't do that. You see how I said that to you? It's like, shut the fuck up. Please just be a normal fucking person. The second that you seem unnatural or that you're trying to me is the first foot I have out the fucking door.
And
just
honestly,
relax.
I have a lot of guy friends too. And I feel like I always say that right from the beginning. Like, listen, like I get along better with guys than I do women, because I feel like I've been bullied and women didn't like me. And like, I'm more honestly like, I feel like guys girl. Like I like motorcycles, cars, and all of that. So I just bond with guys. And I say that from the beginning. I'm like, listen, I have guy friends. Like you can meet them, like you could get to know them. Like I'd rather you know that from the beginning. And if that's gonna be a problem down the road, and you're gonna get jealous of me hanging out with my guy friends, like you're not for me, because they still come before you. They've been before you. And when I dated one of my exes, and I told him from the beginning, he's like, Court, why would I tell you to get rid of people that have been in your life before I even existed? That's not gonna happen. He's like, I want to get to know them. I'm like, wow, I like you. Like that's like a quality.
So modern day dating is a true fuck horror, guys.
Yeah,
and
but there are good stories too. We're just kind of giving you guys the examples.
Yeah,
of
we're always on a positive thing, but today we came in and decided
we're gonna give you guys
horror
the horror
stories of it, just because we don't want you to get stuck into this spiral of manipulation,
and then have like 5 years down the road and you're just miserable.
You don't need it. You need to be independent and
love yourself.
Everything about yourself before you can start to be dependent on somebody else being in charge of your emotions.
Yep.
Don't let this fucking dude with fucking missing tooth and fucking unibrow put his face fucking between your legs just because you need to feel wanted for that time of being. I fucking can't.
Yeah, build the foundation first. Focus on the loyalty, compromise, trust, build all of that stuff. See how you guys handle conflict. Yeah. Go from there.
Learn the human before you learn them as a partner.
Yeah. And don't rush into the physical. I mean, some of you guys can, whatever, but just get to know them a little bit more, because sometimes, I mean, they can be a shitty person and they could be good in bed and all. It doesn't make them a good person.
No.
So.
And just because they care about you in the bedroom does not mean that
mean
makes
they
you care about you. Yeah. All right. So now moving on to
beauty and fitness.
The beauty and the fitness tips. Take it away.
All right, guys. I'm going to talk about beauty blenders, beauty sponges, all of that stuff. So I have 4 here. Makeup artists, makeup gurus, all of you guys know about the typical Beauty Blender Pro. This is the top quality one. That one is $20. It's expensive, but honestly, it's the best one to have in your kit. But also now with COVID, and if you guys are doing makeup on people, I don't recommend using the same Beauty Blender. Even if you have to wash in between, I recommend using a different one per face. So obviously that could get very pricey. So I have other options here. Real Technique sponge that you could get a pack of 4 for $10.79 on Amazon. They're good. If you want to use them on yourself too, they do break a little bit easier after a few washes, I've noticed. Morphe sponges, they're like $8 to $12, but for one, those are long lasting. They absorb a little bit of product, so it's kind of more to wash, but again, they're cheap and affordable. There's a new one that I just got introduced to. It's called Paw Paw Beauty Sponge, and it actually goes to charity. So you could get a 6-pack for $8.85. That you could give to all your clients, so you could just dispose of them. And then there's another one. It's called Stands Out Beauty Company. That's also $20. And those that and the beauty sponge are top quality, and all the other ones, they're still good quality, but if you're just gonna like use them on one person and like give it to them, I would say the other ones. And again, I'll post them up, but they're all really, those are like my top favorite. There's many other ones you can get on Amazon and stuff, but these are like the best ones that I use on myself.
So explain a little bit what a beauty blender is. I know everyone sees the sponges everywhere. I only use I have one,
Okay.
but I use it. I don't think I blend anything. I just use it for my like under eye, and then I
do you wet your beauty sponge?
I do not wet my beauty sponge.
That's for your. Oh, okay.
I'm wrong all the time,
Okay,
Courtney.
okay,
Like, what the fuck?
okay.
We taught me how to wash my brush.
It's so funny because my sister did the same thing, and she was just like,
I literally put like the concealer in my eyes
So,
and I go bing, 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 bing,
say
bing.
if you do it without it being like damp, it shouldn't be like soaking wet. It should be just damp. You'll see a huge difference, because if you do it dry, it actually takes it off. So a beauty sponge is pretty much, yeah. So it pretty much blends it all. So I use a beauty sponge and a brush. So if I'm doing my concealer, I'll put it under my eyes, and then with a brush, and then I use a beauty sponge to put it on. Foundation, like a liquid foundation, I'll put it on my hand, and then I just like tap it on my face, where beating the face comes into play, or you like, you know. My sister actually did the same thing. She was like, "Oh, these beauty blenders suck that you told me to get," and I'm like, well, really? I'm like, I use it on myself, and like, I like how my makeup comes out. Like, that's weird. Like, I use it on my clients too. She's like, yeah, I don't know why. Like, nothing. It just like takes my makeup off. I was like, Jess, are you wetting it? She's like, you're supposed to wet them.
Yeah.
I'm like,
dry.
Yeah, you are. A huge difference. Watch. Now you're gonna go use it, and you're gonna wet it. Just damp, not like soaking wet. And then after she does, she goes, oh yeah, it's so much better.
Now. All right. So my tip for the day, we're going to talk about quote unquote toning. Okay. I say quote unquote because toning isn't an actual thing. Okay. Toning, when people come in and clients and they're like, I want to tone my arms, I want to tone my leg. Toning is literally you strength training. It is literally you resistance training. Toning is you putting muscle on your body. You're using a word toning because you think of elongated muscles, because toning to you is not you being bulky, but they're both the same thing. It's you gaining muscle mass is the only way that you're going to tone. So when people talk about losing fat and becoming lean, and that's when everything starts to pop, it's because you built your muscles up underneath, and then your nutrition starts to come into play, and then all of your definition and your quote unquote toned body starts to come out. So toning comes from resistance training and weight training. You're not going to get bulky. Okay. Again, we talk about bulky coming from your lack of nutrition discipline. All right. So putting muscle on your body, when you talk about fat loss and when you talk about how your physique looks, when you talk about how your physique looks, it comes from you putting muscle on your body. Now, you always see people who are into fitness and who have definition, quote unquote. It's because they work out, they eat well, but also when you have muscle on your body, it actually helps you maintain your weight loss. So muscle is a metabolically active part of you. So when you have muscle on your body, your resting metabolic rate, so your resting metabolic rate, if you ever hear somebody talk about RMR, is me and you sitting right now. If I have more muscle on my body, I'm burning more calories than you are naturally just sitting.
Which we know you have way more muscle on your body than I do.
Just from me breathing and digesting and my circulatory system, just for my body functioning. Because I have more muscle on my body, I'm burning more calories because my body also needs to help sustain my muscle because it's a living thing. So when we talk about maintenance of weight loss, when you have muscle on your body, there's all different research studies as to how much it is, and people go overzealous with how much extra calories you burn a day, but you're still burning more throughout the day for doing absolutely nothing. Now add into actually being active and physical, and that's why people you see in shape seem more in shape, because we're continuing to burn calories throughout our day because we keep muscle mass on. So all of the women and even the men who don't want to look quote unquote bulky, but you want to look toned, it's the same thing. You're just putting a bad connotation into your head because you don't want to look bulky.
About that one thing that I said the other day with the girl jumping to the gym.
Oh yeah. You're like, we're going to go into the gym. But when you talk about toning, guys, and then your trainer tells you, okay, well, we're going to do resistance training. You're like, but no, I don't want to be bulky. I just want to tone. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same way to get there. Women you see bulked have been eating and training and taking whatever for fucking years to look that way. So for you to be afraid of a 5 to 10 pound weight doing lateral raises to get shoulder definition, you're not just going to have shoulders on shoulders from doing lateral raises, but you need to build muscle in order for you to look, quote unquote, in your mind, toned. Okay? So burn the extra calories off, maintain your weight loss, put muscle on your body. You can't do one without the other. And all right, we talked a lot. We made it the whole way through. We talked a lot,
We did it.
guys. But yeah,
Thank you guys to our sponsors, Glow Commando, FG Performance Labs.
no windy
No windy
sleeves. Thank you for joining in on episode 13, guys. See you later. Love ya.
Bye.
Bye.